I know the guy.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Shelby Pride, Parks and Recreation Director. I will also start with our snow fight, but not near to the level that Steve and his team did. We had our staff in for about 8 hours on Sunday afternoon and evening. We've got a lot of walkers that they come, whether there's snow, rain, anything. So they were out here making sure sidewalks were clear, the trails were as clear as they could be, and then they went home and rested through the night, came in 5 a.m. Monday morning, worked late on Monday. This week we've done some touch-ups on trails as snow falls off the trees and all of that. And then we took our RTVs over to the sports fields and cleared paths for them to get vehicles in. There's nothing going on at the outdoor fields right now, but we at least cleared it for them to be able to get in and out and work over there. Sports update for the year of 2024. We totaled up our numbers for the year, and we had 4,291 participants for the year. That is 667 more than 2023. We gave out 101 scholarships, totaling $13,753. We added 16 new programs. And when I say programs, I don't mean new sports. I mean that, we added kindergarten flag football, for example. We added preschool, sports. So those programs, we count it by program, not necessarily sport. Out of 109 total programs, we offered 8 different sports, a golf camp, and multiple strength and speed camps and clinics throughout the year. So sports had a really good year. We're really excited, again, to have partnered with them and build this relationship for the community. I think we've done a lot of good things, and we're looking forward to 2025. The only other update I have is the PRBC. The first meeting of the year is Wednesday, February 5th at 6:30 p.m. in the TAC room. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Albram, Planning Director. My apologies, I fought no snow this week. As many of you know, we had some issues with our zoning map, and there was some inaccuracies in it. We had to pull it down from the site, and we've been working to make all the corrections. It's taken a lot of research. And we believe we're almost there. We had one final check, and there are a handful of sites we want to just go back and double check, and we should have that done next week. And it will be then given to Schneider to put back up on Beacon probably the following week. So zoning map should be completed by then. The comp plan update, we have another steering committee meeting next week. We are going to take a deeper dive into the future land use map. And then there are focus areas that we've begun to identify that we are also going to take a deeper dive into those areas. So the comp plan continues to move on. Plan Commission, we have 6 cases on the next agenda: the 2-family promise, the 2 Whispering Pines, the rezoning case you're going to see introduced later, and then the preliminary plat for Laurel Heights. We had 1 new case filed for February, so a lighter agenda, at least for February. BZA, we have 1 or 2 pending cases there. And then we are still continuing to work through the UDO, and by we, I mean Paul continues to work through the UDO to go over problems that we're finding with it and changes we want to make. And hopefully it won't be too many more months here that we will start to bring some stuff to you.
Any questions? Thank you, Linda.
Good evening. Sean Stoops, Chief of Police. The Police Department Merit Board met on December 2nd. The commission presented the results of our sergeant promotion process. They certified the promotion list, and we also asked them to go ahead and promote Officer John Flowers to the rank of sergeant. So we want to congratulate Sergeant John Flowers on that accomplishment. We also presented officers Kevin Roach, Pete Michael, and Eric Cheek with life-saving awards from an incident where they were involved where they administer life-saving techniques to an individual. I want to congratulate them on their efforts. Our next merit board meeting is Monday, January 13th at 7 p.m. Over at the new, our new training room. It's no longer called the courtroom. We want to give a shout out to the Redevelopment Commission for allowing us to have that opportunity to get that completed. And I can say now that it's just about finished. There's one or two things left on the punch list, but we've used it a couple times. It's been a nice addition. Our hiring process is still open. Testing is on January 18th. We still have 6 vacancies, and so far we have over 300 online applications at this point, registrants. So we're very hopeful at the response and the turnout that we'll have on the 18th. Detective Hipschman has started his new assignment in the investigations division, and he started his field training program. So he's going to be doing that for a while before he's going to be kind of up and running fully as a detective, but we want to congratulate him on that accomplishment. Our officers attended a joint training scenario with the Indianapolis Airport for active assailant response in the event that we would be called as under a mutual aid agreement to go down there and help with an unfortunate incident that might take place down there in the future. We received our new fitness equipment for the basement. It's been installed and it's ready to use. Also a shout out to the RDC again, because they gave us a little bit of money to get all of the walls painted and the ceiling painted, and we added some light fixtures. So it's starting to actually look like a nice fitness facility there, and we invite everybody to come over and check it out and use it. I know some people have already made some special requests for some extra equipment. Yeah, so and our Academy cadets graduated last month from the Academy, and they have resumed their field training program, and they should be finishing that up here in a couple months. So we're excited to get them out there and working on their own. Just to not to sound like a broken record, but just want to reiterate what everyone else has said. Thank you for the snow removal. They were still removing snow today. So they were out there just kind of cleaning up all the spots that they couldn't get really detailed into during the storm fight. So thank you to everybody that was out there fighting the snow, because it helped us get around a lot easier in and out of the buildings. Our sidewalks are clear. I think I even saw one employee out there cleaning off employee cars. So thank you for that too. It wasn't mine, but I did see him doing it. So happy to answer any questions.
Well, it was interesting. I went by a Crew Car Wash today, and an employee for Crew Car Wash had a snow blower that was, 2 feet from the curb, clearing all that off all the way down the road. So, did you talk about the $82,000 reimbursement?
Nope, skip that. Yeah, so we did receive our Indiana Crime Guns Task Force reimbursement at the end of the year for the $82,000 to help reimburse the salary and overtime for our detective that's assigned there.
All right. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Julie, do you have anything?
No, just still closing out 2024, getting ready to input the budget here in the next couple weeks for 2025 so we can get rolling. So if your check register looks odd, it's because I haven't had a chance to enter the 25 budget until I close 24, but we're good.
So as I said, it said you failed, which means you weren't closed out yet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look on your check register, there's one page on there that says a test failed. It's because there's no budget in there, so it looks like it's overdrawn. It is not. It's just nothing there.
Okay, next item on the agenda then is public comment. This is the first of 2 opportunities. The public may comment on items on the agenda that are not a public hearing or on a specific matter within the council's jurisdictions. Please come forward, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Ron Fraser, 8806 Prairie Trail, Avon. Yeah, I want to comment in regards to the roundabout that's going to be put in near the Costco and Angelina Way. Currently, it's a mess, that intersection has been ever since Costco was put in there. You've got Walmart traffic, Costco traffic, both hitting there at the same time. What isn't being addressed is the intersection at 36 and 900, and the fact that probably, I'm guessing around 80% of the cars want to turn left. So they want to go east on that road. Yet we've got one lane for that. We've got one lane that goes straight ahead to Andy Moore that hasn't got that much business. And then we've got a lane that turns right, goes west on 36. Well, the light turning to the left is a yellow flashing, comes on after, maybe 10, 20 seconds after the green light has come on. That traffic lines up in that lane, goes all the way back through that intersection, halfway down towards my entrance of my street. That is a major problem. A roundabout will not fix that. If anything, it'll make it worse, because then you've got more traffic. They'll just sit on that roundabout. People don't wait to get in a roundabout. They just get in it and then just sit there because the traffic can't go anywhere. So you're not going to fix anything with the roundabout. It's a situation that's been made by the decisions of this council to have the traffic pushed out onto 900. And I don't understand why no one has looked at setting up both those lanes so that you can either go straight ahead or turn left in that middle lane. That would alleviate a lot of that traffic. And I'm not sure what that roundabout will do, other than possibly it will create a gridlock for that light. And it may stop a few accidents. Anytime I drive through there, I've pulled back to about 15 mile an hour with my foot over the brake, because people being people, they just come out. You know, they'll look, they'll see you, and they'll come out anyway as you're coming through that intersection. So to me, it's one of the most dangerous intersections in Avon at this point in time, and I don't understand why it's taken so long for anything to be done about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to come forward at this time? Then let's move on to council comment and liaison reports. Mr. Holland.
Oh, good evening. I just wanted to add that I had a couple of calls from folks that were concerned about snow removal, so I got in my four-wheel drive and drove around. And I concur with what Steve has told you. The main thoroughfares were cleaned very well. I'd say the biggest problem that I saw was people parked along the street, making it very difficult to clean those streets. So I know we don't have any signs up or any ordinances about no parking with so much snow, you know, like some communities do. But if people want their streets clean, they're going to have to move their vehicles so that we can get in there. So I wanted to thank Steve for that. I think Shelby's done a great job this past year. So I just wanted to give you my thanks for everything that you've been doing. And the last thing that I had was the police department's been very helpful in getting me up to speed on things that are going on in the community. And I appreciate that from the chief and his staff. So like I said before, I've kind of laid a little low this first year because it was my first year and trying to get back into the community and understand what's really going on. So thank you, folks, for helping me out. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Dawn.
I also would like to say that I think our town, Public Works and Fox Contracting did a good job on the streets. I think the frustration with people was that, you know, we took a proactive approach on it and we got out there and started, but the snow was continuing. And so when people woke up, although the roads had been done maybe once, they were still seeing another 4 inches on the ground when they woke up and actually looked out their door. So I also received a lot of calls, but, and tried to explain that to as many as I could. I kept getting asked if my road was clean and my driveway was clean, and I assured them that it was not, that they were all being handled equally. But I do appreciate the time and effort that was put in. It was a larger snow event than we've seen since I've been on council. And I appreciate that they were out there and we were able to get out if we wanted to get out. Nothing else from me.
Robert?
Reiterate same thing. You did a good job. Knowing what you and Fox Contractors did a great job. And looking forward to 2025. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'll echo what everybody else said about the snow removal. I thought you guys did a really good job. I travel for work all across the state, and of all the places that I drove, this was where the snow was most well taken care of, and the roads were safe and drivable much sooner than everywhere else I traveled. So I think you guys did a great job, and I hope that you guys continue to do that. Also, today I saw online, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, that it's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So appreciate all the work that you guys do, and continue to keep us safe in 2025. That's all I got.
I don't have anything, but I will say, I think, we do have a policy that we have that we kind of use as our blueprint for snow removal. And we do the primary roads first, and we do the secondary roads, which is subdivision second. And when people start calling at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're probably not done with our primary roads yet. So kudos to what you've done, Steve. Keep it up. Next item on the agenda, new business, is the election of council officers. Anybody would like to make any nominations?
Greg, I'd nominate you for council president.
Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Don Loudon for council president.
Any other nominations?
I have a question. Do any of those require seconds or anything?
I don't believe so. They're just nominations, and then we'll take the nominations in the order that they were nominated. Correct?
Right.
All right. If there are no other nominations, then Greg Zusen for town council president.
Robert Pope,
4.
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Don Loudon, Bill Holland,
Against?
Jason Puckett.
Against.
Next nomination is for Dawn, council president.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon, Greg Zuzen,
Against.
Robert Pope,
Against.
Bill Holland.
4.
Nominations for vice president.
I'd like to nominate Jason Puckett.
I nominate you as well, Greg.
We have nomination of Jason and Greg. Any other nominations? Nomination for Jason Puckett as vice president.
Bill Holland,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Robert Pope,
Against.
Greg Zuzen,
Against.
Don Loudon,
So this year, the president will be Dawn Loudon and the vice president will be Jason Puckett.
The next business is board and committee appointments. So we'll start with Regional Plan Commission. And council president appointment, and I will appoint Andrew Bethel. There is a town council appointment.
Were we going to have a discussion of who these candidates are, or just?
If you would like.
Hey, Don, just to be clear, so for the redevelopment commission, you guys actually have 5 appointments. So you have 3 council president appointments and 2 town council appointments. So even if, I know you have, on the spreadsheet that you have, there's 3 existing people, but they would still have to be reappointed. So just make sure council president has to appoint 3 and town council has to appoint 2.
And just for conversation, the people sitting on that board have to live within the town boundaries. They cannot live outside of the town boundaries. So is there any discussion?
You had indicated that you had contacted some of these. Was Andrew Bethel one of those individuals?
He was one that I called and he did not call me back. Some of them I spoke with, I had to let them know because they don't live in town neighborhoods. But we appreciated their interest, but we would not be able to consider them for positions.
So looking at Mr. Bethel's application, the only thing it says is, I'm interested in helping shape the future growth of our community. What was the motivation to, I guess, if not, we haven't talked to him, to put him on this board or commission? The rationale, I guess.
Well, he was one that lived in the town. And there was another that was on the list that applied who is going to be out of the country as of fall. So that did not really allow that person to serve, even though they did not withdraw their name. And the other person that's on here that lived in the town would also like to sit on redevelopment commission, but so that he had a greater interest in BZA. So that's how I came up with it.
So Dan, we don't necessarily have to fill all the positions at one time, is that correct?
Correct. But again, as Ryan mentioned,
Right.
the president needs to pick 3 here. The council needs to pick 2. And the one shown in green, which would be Mr. Culler, Mr. Kaufman, and Mr. Reed, although they're shown in green, which means they served last year, but RDC is unusual. They have to make those appointments every year. So the president, typically, the president picks first because they're kind of hers. Then the council would need to move to appoint 2 more. And then we do the RDC first, as some of you remember, because that allows you certain flexibility with your other boards and commissions.
And then Sheila Glass, according to Ryan, is who the school board would like to maintain that seat. That is their recommendation for their position.
And Dawn, that position is a council president appointment as well. So.
Right, but I'm just explaining since he was asking. Any discussion?
So what have you done then?
We're going to leave Bob Culler, Dave Kaufman, and Bill Reed as council president picks. And Sheila Glass as the school board pick.
Bill Reed is the council.
He is, but I'm going to pick him as,
Okay, so I'm going to make sure, because I remember I got to copy all these and distribute them. So I'm just going to restate it just to make sure everyone's on the same page. So town council appointments, I have Bob Culler, Dave Kaufman, and Bill Reed. And then Sheila Glass.
correct.
And so now you guys, the town council needs to appoint 2 people.
The 2 people that I would like you, I mean, we all can discuss and think about would be, one would be Steve Eisenbarth and the other one is John Hanks.
John Hanks, I did speak with, and he said that he would be willing to sit on that, but his preference was BZA. John Hanks. I mean, he can sit on more than one. I'm just saying that when I spoke with him, his preference was BZA. Who'd you say, Jeff Franz?
So let me go back to the beginning. Andrew Bethel's off the table now.
Well, and going to what you just said about John Hanks, even though he had it on his application to be considered for redevelopment, he doesn't want to be. But then Jeffrey France, as Bill has nominated, hasn't put on that he wants to be considered for the redevelopment, but we're thinking of putting him on it. So I'm confused. Yeah,
Yeah, he's under the plan commission, Bill.
advisory plan and BZA. But this is redevelopment.
Yeah, we're in
But he
redevelopment.
didn't say he wanted to be on redevelopment.
He says he's got planning commission or, okay, my fault. I was reading the next one. Shit, I apologize. That's where I was going to go.
In, when I spoke with Mr. Hanks, he said BZA and Plan Commission. Plan Commission because he thought it would be interesting and deep, but BZA aligns more with what he does professionally.
Dawn, can you move your microphone closer?
It's on.
No, closer. I got a message from Mike.
Greg,
Hawley,
did you
who's
talk to
watching.
Steve Eisenbarth? Because I see him under plan commission as well.
I did not talk to Steve, no.
Okay.
Part of my rationale for him was his experience on the plan commission, on the BZA. And then later on, I was thinking of putting him in as an alternate on the BZA. Because there may be some movement later on within that commission. So I figured we could set it up with an alternate that has some experience.
I did speak with Steve, and he's willing to serve in any capacity that we feel he's needed. So any nominations for the town council picks for redevelopment commission?
I'm good with John and Steve if that's what everybody wants to do.
Do we take a vote? All right, let's take a vote. Do you want to start with
John Hanks.
naming one?
Sure, we'll do, I'll nominate Steve Eisenbarth.
Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, we can do these as a slate. We can nominate these and do one round of voting to make this faster. We don't have to do them individually. Of course, that's your option, but
And it's really a motion, so at least you need a second. Town council's a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion that we nominate Steve Eisenbarth and John Hanks to the redevelopment commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Julie?
Jason Puckett,
4.
Bill Holland. Turn your mic on, please.
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Greg Zuzen.
4.
Okay. Next is the plan commission.
One question, do we need an alternate or a backup?
We don't need.
No, not allowed on the RDC.
It's got here Jennifer Spencer was on the RDC last year.
Just telling you, there's no provision for a backup on the RDC
Okay,
statute.
I'm just following what was put in front of me.
I'm not sure what good backups are anyway, because if somebody leaves, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to know it. We're going to have a meeting. There might be others that come around.
Okay, so the, moving on to Plan Commission Board, there are 2 openings that are appointed by town council as a group. And there are 2 people who previously served whose terms expired on the 31st of December, which are Dave Kaufman and Bill Reed. Of course, those 2 commission members have their coextensive with terms of government that for this board. My recommendation would be that we leave them there. They have offered to continue to serve in those capacities. They have some experience, but open for discussion.
How long are these terms? 4 years?
Yes. Well, their 2 are, it has to,
Contingent on
yes.
the other.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're 1 year.
Yeah, so it'll be 1 year because they were appointed, if you're appointing them, you're appointing them as a result of their service on the redevelopment commission, which their appointment's only a year, which means their appointment to the planning commission is only for a year.
I'm fine with that.
I'm okay.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I make a motion that Dave Kaufman and Bill Reed be appointed to the Plan Commission for 1 year.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Bill Holland,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon.
4. Next board and commission is the BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals. We have 1 position that is expiring or has expired at the end of last year, and that's Marcy Teschler, and that is also a town council appointment. Is there any discussion or recommendations? Any motion? I'll make a motion that we allow Marcy to go ahead and extend her seat on the BZA. Is there a second?
Second.
Julie, you take roll call?
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Bill Holland.
4.
Next one's the Stormwater Board of Directors. This one is a council president assignment, and Katie has served in the past, has the experience. She's been president of the board before, and she would like to continue filling that role. And so I would like to leave her in that position. Any discussion otherwise? Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
That one's you.
Yep, that's you, Don, so.
Okay. So we still don't need a motion. Okay.
Don, can I interrupt you for a quick second?
You may.
You guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. Real quickly, on the Economic Development Commission, I didn't highlight this on your list, but I got an email from the county. The appointment to the county council, which is Tom Downard, his term, the county has told me, expired actually this year. So they want to know if you want to recommend him for reappointment. So I just wanted to verify that. If you guys were comfortable with that, I'll forward that recommendation to the county council for appointment. So,
I'm
or
good
if you
with
want
that.
someone else, let me know.
I'm good with that.
Do we need to vote on that, Ryan?
It would probably be helpful just so I can forward that information.
So moved.
I make a motion or I'll second Bill's motion to retain Tom Downard on the Economic Development Commission as the county appointee.
Well, it's actually it's a recommendation to the county council. The county council has to appoint someone to your EDC. So yeah, they're asking you to make a recommendation to them.
So moved. Tom Downard. Next is the Parks Advisory Council, And all of the positions are appointed by the town council as a whole. They do not have to, this is the one board where they do not have to live within the town proper. They can live outside of town in Washington Township. We have one person who has been seated on the board that would like to remain on the board or has not removed their name from it, and that's Jennifer Thompson. And we did not hear back from Michelle Bettis to say whether or not she wanted to continue on the board or not. There were a couple of people that I spoke with. One of them was Deborah Botts. Deborah is retired. She lives out by the Parks of Prestwick on Galena Drive. And she's looking to volunteer and be connected with the community in her retirement. And she seemed like she was really excited to have the opportunity to sit on our Parks Board. So just put that out there, that would be one that I would recommend based on our conversation.
What was her last name?
Botts, B-O-T-T-S, Deborah Botts.
The other one you might want to consider, she's a resident of Avon, Sarah Songer. She's been involved in Parks Foundation before in the past, so she's got some background.
Any discussion otherwise on those three, the Jennifer Thompson, Deborah Botts, or Sarah Songer? If not, could we get a
We
motion?
know
Go ahead.
contributions of Jennifer Thompson on the PRBC. Attendance was good. Okay. Thank you.
What about Michelle Bettis?
She did not respond back that,
She's
because
not
she's
in
in
the
yellow, but she also didn't say that she wanted to continue that seat.
Very good.
Does anyone want?
Motion that we consider Jennifer Thompson, Sarah Songer, and Deborah Botts on the PRBC.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and 2 seconds. Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Robert Pope,
Four.
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Jason Puckett,
Four.
Bill Holland.
4.
Okay, the next one is the Police Merit Board. One is a council president appointment. I will go ahead and appoint Ryan Brubaker for that role, and the other is a town council appointment. Currently, Don Hornaday Jr. sits on that board, and Chief Stoops has notified us that Mr. Hornaday would like to continue to serve and has the blessing of Chief Stoops in that position, so, but open for discussion.
I make a motion that we nominate Don Hornaday Jr. for the Police Merit Board.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Bill Holland,
4.
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Robert Pope,
Four.
Jason Puckett,
Four.
Don Loudon.
4. The Fire Appeals Board did not have any remaining openings. The Recreation Impact Fee Appeal Board, their terms don't expire, they're just as needed. We do have an opening on the Redevelopment Authority, even though the term didn't expire until 12 of 25. And that is a council appointment. So
I
that is
suggest
open.
that we put John Hanks on there. John Hanks is the new one that we put on the Redevelopment Commission. And it would be good to be on the Redevelopment Authority, and it makes sense to me to have them on both of them.
Second.
There's a first and a second for John Hanks. Julie, would you take roll call?
Jason Puckett,
Four.
Don Loudon,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Bill Holland,
Four.
Greg Zuzen.
4.
All right, next are the other boards that are out there that we act as liaisons to. The Citizens Water Advisory Board, Ryan, do you want to remain as the member on that?
I would, yes.
Okay. The next one up is the Dispatch Board, which is the Hendricks County 911 Board. Is there anyone that specifically would like to serve or has not served on that in the past that would like to experience that, or?
I served on that last year. However, it never, well, I believe it met, but we weren't informed. I'm willing to serve on that. It's still an interest to me to see how that plays out. Again, having not had that opportunity.
Okay, show Robert on the Dispatch Board. Hendricks County Recycling District Board. Robert, I know you served on that as well. Is there anyone else that would like their opportunity to serve on that board?
No, thank you.
That one meets at 7 a.m.
I'll second that one.
It meets at 7 a.m. at the Danville Government Center. And I believe it meets monthly. Quarterly now? Quarterly? Anyone? No volunteers for that one? It is a voting position. I guess I'll serve on it. Next up is the Hendricks County Economic Development Board. We have John Taylor on that. I'm assuming we will leave John Taylor on that. The IRTC Policy Committee, Ryan, do you want to still show on that one?
Yes, please. I think your list is showing Ian Loera as the backup.
Yes.
But Ian is obviously no longer with us, so I'd suggest Steve. I think actually I didn't change that when Ian left. I think you guys actually appointed Steve. I think I just didn't update it in my list because Steve has been serving in that capacity. So I'd suggest Steve, and then for the technical committee, I'd still recommend Steve to be the primary and Keaton to be the backup.
Okay. And the next one is AeroVision, which hasn't really met since prior to COVID in 2020. So it's kind of a non-existent board. They haven't dissolved it, but they don't meet. So I don't know that we need to assign anyone to that at this point in time. I guess if they decide to become active again, we could all have a conversation about it then. Chamber of Commerce will leave as Ryan and John. And then we have CERTA. Ryan, I guess you and I can do that one now. And then we have our other liaisons positions. So I would,
Hey, Dawn,
yes,
maybe before you move on, I think it sounded like everyone had consensus on those, but those are all town council appointments. So we should probably have you guys vote on that slate of people that we just appointed
okay.
because they are town. That's what they're broken apart.
Make a motion that we appoint the following people. Ryan Kanan to the Citizens Water Advisory Board, myself, Robert Pope to the Dispatch Board, Dawn Loudon to the Hendricks County Recycling District Board, John Taylor to the HCDP Board, Ryan Cannon and Steve Moore as backup to the IRTC Policy Committee, Steve Moore and backup Keaton Olson to the IRTC Technical Committee, Dawn Loudon to AeroVision, Ryan Cannon and John Taylor to the Chamber of Commerce, and Ryan Cannon and Dawn Loudon to Central Indiana Regional Development Authority.
Second.
Julie, would you take a roll call, please?
Robert Pope,
4.
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Bill Holland,
Four.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon.
4. Okay, next are our liaisons positions. I will go ahead and do the collaboration group, county council and commissioners. And that leaves,
Ryan, we don't, you're the one that does collaboration group, right? We don't send, we don't.
I do. That was something, the collaboration group, the only people who used to send an elected official were the town, all the rest of them. It was me and Dr. Wyndham. And so I had kind of said, Greg, maybe you should kind of step away. I think that actually went back to when it was first created, Mike Rogers used to attend. And then I think we tried to get away from that. So Greg is correct. I've been the only one attending the collaboration group. But again, if you want to be the liaison, Dawn, that I think that's fine. You may not necessarily need to attend the meetings, but however you guys want to handle that.
okay. I just know that in the past, typically it had been the council president.
Correct.
I've been on the annexation committee forever, since I came on the council. Is there anyone else that would like to sit on that, or the township liaison, library, parks, police, school, WCCD, and public works? I don't know what your individual schedules allow, but we do need to cover those. Greg, do you have any that appeal to you?
Well, I've been on the annexation. Township is fine. I'll do township.
Okay,
I built this is definitely open. Anyone else can take this as well, but I built up a strong relationship with the school. I'm willing to continue to be the liaison for the school. Bill, I know that you have it's near and dear to your heart for WCCD board. I think it would make sense for you to be the liaison to that.
I think the town would be better served if someone else did that. There's 3 of them on here that are not, or that I was on, that are not on here. I don't know if we're still going to do that or not.
those are 2 of the departments, but these are our outside entities that we're talking about right now.
All right.
Well, Bill is correct. There's some liaisons to the commissions, and Bill was a liaison for the redevelopment commission. He was a liaison for the planning commission, and he was a liaison for the BZA. So I think that's what Bill's talking about.
Because Tim was. And so then when
Yeah.
you took over, then for Tim, then
I'm happy to do that unless anybody else wants any of them. But WCCD, I really think in the interest of our relationship, we probably should have someone else.
is there someone else that,
I'll do it if that's what the council wants, but
I think you can do it.
Well, that's Dawn's decision, not ours.
let's leave that one open for right now, because I'd like to discuss it with Bill further on and weigh that out. So we have library, parks, and police still left to go. Jason, do you have any that you would
Happy to
like to?
take those, that's fine.
Okay,
Is police the merit board? Is that what that is?
yes.
Do the police merit board?
And
The merit board is a different one, but Jason was currently the police. So remember, the police one is to the police department. The merit board is to the merit board. You had the same person doing both, but you don't have to.
What's been spoken for?
Jason said he would do library, parks, and police, so.
You doing all 3? Okay.
Okay.
So I show you guys have Public Works, annexation, and WCCD left. And then you have the boards. You still have redevelopment commission, BZA and planning commission, unless Bill wants those. You also have
I'll do
stormwater board.
annexation.
Yeah, you had said annexation.
I'll take Public Works again.
You'll do public works?
So I should be
I
down.
don't want that to come off as picking up what's left over. I'll do what's needed, and I don't want to. I was trying very hard. It came out wrong, Steve. And I hope you know that.
We don't blame you, Robert.
I definitely don't want it to come across that way. I got you.
Since you're on the planning commission, why don't you just?
Yeah.
I didn't get the recycling board. I'm good.
Okay,
I agree.
I'm good.
let me, because I have to do this for the minutes. So Jason, right now I have you at library, parks, police, so both police and merit board. Both, okay. I have Robert with the school and the Public Works Department. I have Greg with the Township Board and the Annexation Committee.
And planning commission.
And, well, he's on the Plan Commission, but yeah. Okay. Dawn, I just have you on the collab,
The county council and commissioners.
County Council. And then commish. And Bill, I have you for nothing.
Right now.
Okay.
Come on, Bill, jump in.
Waiting for these other ones that we're talking about that I'm already on that nobody's been assigned to.
Okay, so we need a council liaison for the redevelopment commission. Bill, you said you would do that one?
Yeah.
Greg, would you want to do the plan commission one since you're sitting on the plan commission?
That makes sense.
The next one is BZA. Is there anyone that would like to?
I'll take that.
Okay, Bill wants that one. And Robert wants the stormwater.
Sure.
I'm guessing because of Public Works and stormwater. Economic Development Liaison. Jason, you did that last time. Does someone else want to do that? Or are you wanting that?
I'm open to it if nobody else wants it.
Okay, we'll put you there. You have the Parks Advisory Council. I'll do
Who
that
wants
one.
Shelby?
I'll do that one. Police Merit Board, we've got Jason.
Dawn, you took Parks Advisory Council?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the same as Parks that Jason was doing? Library,
He was on
Parks,
that
and
last
Police?
year. She's taking it this year.
But it is one of the same though, right?
Yeah, PRBC.
One's for the department, one's for
One's
the
for the
board.
department, one's for the board. So Jason's the Parks Department, Dawn's for the Parks Advisory Council.
Greg you were on the RDA liaison last time. Would you like to continue on that or?
Sure.
Greg, you said you take RDA?
Huh?
Did I hear you say you're taking RDA?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just so you know, RDA and RDC usually meet on the same night back to back. So it might be better, and this is, I don't care what you guys do, if you took RDA because they're just back to back.
Well, if that's the case, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, are you okay on RDA? Back to back? Okay.
It makes more sense. Don't worry, all three of you are 5-minute meetings. You're good.
Okay, Julie, do you have everything you need?
I think so. Let me just go over this real quick. It's on Loudon Collaboration Group, County Council, County Commissioners, PRBC. Greg, you're doing Township Board, Annexation and Plan Commission. Robert's on the School Board, Public Works and Stormwater. Bill has RDA, RDC, BZA. Jason has the Library, the Parks Department, Police, and the Merit Board and EDC. And West Central is up for grabs.
The only other one I showed too is you did have 2 people on the annexation committee. If you're fine just having one, that's fine, but I had 1 annexation spot and I had WCCD left as well. But again, you don't have to have 2 people. That's however you guys want to do it.
I'll stay on annexation.
Oh, did somebody take planning and building?
We didn't have it
Found
on
it.
here last year.
See, it's hidden. It scrolled to the next line, so it didn't show up. That's what, when I just went to type it in, it popped up.
Anybody want planning and building
So it looked like
department?
Greg had planning and building last year. Because it was in his list.
I'll be happy to do it again in 25.
PB and J for Greg. Planning, Building, and Jessica. That's what it is.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Next is the Town Attorney 2025 engagement letter.
This is our annual engagement letter. It's the same as last year's letter, except for the rate, which we are proposing to increase from 235 to 245, which is very simply an inflationary adjustment of 4.23%, I believe. It's been our honor and pleasure to work with you, and Anna and I would like to continue, and that's what you have before you tonight.
Is there any discussion?
I make a motion, we approve the town attorney 2025 engagement letter as presented.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Craig Zuzen,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Bill Holland.
4.
Next is approving the quote for the police vehicle. Brian?
Thank you. Always feel like I'm screaming into this microphone if I don't do that. You should have a memo in front of you as well as a quote from Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield. Each year we purchase about anywhere between 5 to 7 vehicles as we replace some of our older fleet. This vehicle was a different type of vehicle that we will actually deploy with our investigators. And so we have an opportunity to save a little bit of money over what would be the standard police vehicle packages that you're seeing out there on the road. So this is a vehicle, all the specs are outlined there in your memo. And so we're requesting permission to go ahead and secure this vehicle and authorize clerk treasurer to make the payment in the amount of $50,717.97. Spoke with Ms. Loger about this regarding our cash flow, and in those conversations, we are looking to just make direct payment and not finance this purchase, which would allow us to secure this vehicle in a timely manner. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Any discussion, questions? If not, could we entertain a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the request to purchase a vehicle by the police department from Andy Moore Ford in the amount of $50,717.97, financed from the CCD fund, and for the clerk treasurer to issue a check to them.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Craig Zuzen,
4.
Bill Holland.
4.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is Resolution 2025-01, protecting Prestwick Golf Course.
You missed the zoning introduction.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next is the zoning introduction, Briarwood, the Patel property.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Dofer, Land Acquisition Manager for Dries Homes. Thank you. And we're here to introduce the Briarwood project ahead of the Plan Commission meeting later this month on the 27th. Let's see.
All right, I'll just move it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go. So to orient ourselves, we're about a half mile north off of US 36 and 900. It's an infill site. And then next slide, please. The zoning map today shows that the site is zoned ag, with surrounding zoning mostly in the county showing RB to the north and south, and then RC to the west. We also have some R4 zoning further to the south, which is the new Lennard Townhome project, as well as duplexes across the street and more duplexes to the north. Next slide, please. Looking at the future land use map, this is designated as specialty housing, which is looking for product that is a little different than your typical apartment or single family development. Next slide, please. So factoring all those in, the site is 16.4 acres. It is a little unique where the frontage along 900 is pinched a little bit. So we're looking at 250 feet of frontage, knowing that we can only get one access. That does limit our number of lots to 49 lots. There's also an existing access easement to our neighbor to the south. You can kind of see that off of that existing curb cut on 900. And then we also have the Eden Gate entrance across the street that we have to be really mindful of. We don't want too narrow of an offset, but because of that 250-foot frontage along 900, we are limited where we can put our entrance. And then we also have an existing perimeter tree line that we want to preserve. So factoring all of that in as we're looking at our concept plan on the next slide, we would like to request R4 zoning for 49 single-family detached lots. These would be all single-story lots, empty nester targeted. Our entrance is pushed as far north as possible while also being mindful of A-cell and D-cell requirements and trying not to require any right-of-way that needs to be acquired from any of the existing homes to our north or south. We are proposing a right-in, right-out entrance. This is due to the traffic study that was conducted, which suggested that we should have a dedicated left turn lane. There are existing homes on the east side of 900, which are very close to the road. So adding a dedicated left turn lane would really impact their front yard. So to prevent that, that's why we're going to propose a right-in, right-out entrance. And then we're also proposing 3.3 acres of open space, which is a little over 20% of the site. We're also maintaining the existing driveway location for our neighbor to the south, and you'll see that right next to lot 39. Next slide, please. Taking a look at our product, as I mentioned, these are all ranch style homes, empty nester targeted. Square footage ranges from 1,500 to 2,700 square feet. There will be loft options as well as outdoor living options. We are expecting the average sales price to be about $425,000. Next slide, please. This shows some of our interior finishes. We are semi-custom, so the buyers will have a lot of customization options and leeway to make the homes best suited towards them. The next slide, please. So knowing that R4 has a lot of options that comes with that zoning, we are proposing commitments to really tailor the zoning to this site. So we're proposing no more than 49 lots, which is a maximum density of 2.99. Lot size minimum is going to be 6,600 square feet. Minimum lot width is 53 feet wide, and minimum ground floor area will be 1,500 square feet. And then we're also proposing a commitment of only single-family detached. And with that, I'm happy to turn it over for any questions or comments.
I think you mentioned some of the zonings were RB and RZ.
RC. Mhm.
RC. Linda, what would those zonings be for the town of Avon? Do you know?
RB would be R2, and I believe RC would be R3, but I'm not positive offhand.
That leads me then to why would you want the R4 zoning?
As we were in development of the concept plan, the architectural standards did change. So it's our understanding that there's no density bonus anymore for the enhanced architectural standards. So that is the reason for the R4 request. But our density is closer to R2 density, as well as the lot width. So we are trying to make as many commitments as possible to really narrow in what this site could be. And it is infill. So the options for developing this site are limited.
Thank you.
In Drees' words, why is this specialty housing? It's single family detached.
So we would consider it specialty housing because it is age targeted, all ranch style homes, which is a missing segment in the Avon market. While it is considered a specialty housing designation in the comp plan does say that those designations are clusters. They're meant to be fluid, not necessarily parcel specific. And we do have to be mindful that there is a traditional development on all sides of it too. So we don't want to do something really dense on the site because we don't think that would be appropriate. We want to do something that massing wise, scale wise is appropriate for the area.
So the answer why it's specialty is age appropriate?
Age targeted, yes.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you do the project across the street just a little bit to the north?
Stonehaven, yes.
So is this going to be similar to Stonehaven?
Stonehaven, I believe, is duplexes. If I remember correctly, yes.
Okay.
So these will be single family detached.
So you're saying that your target is age appropriate or whatever, but these are not in fact HOPA homes. These are not 55 plus designated neighborhoods.
No, it will not be age restricted, just age targeted.
Right.
I don't know how to ask this question, so I hope you can help me walk through it, Ryan. I don't know if we have an ordinance or if it's just been our standard practices to new developments to have intersections straight across the street. Now, I understand this is one property, but we're making some very special exceptions for the entrance. Is it an ordinance? How did we get to having what in my experience would be a big red flag for an entrance to a neighborhood?
Well, I don't know that I can answer the question of how we got to that. I guess I wasn't aware that maybe Steve had some involvement in the rezoning. I'm not sure, but the ordinance is specific about driveway separations, and there's a different standard for a full access driveway separation and a right-in, right out. So there's a larger separation distance between two full accesses, but it could be less if it's a right in, right out. So I'm guessing that based on that, they looked at that in the separation from that existing drive is far enough to meet that standard.
Okay.
Otherwise, they would have to ask for a waiver of that standard.
Yeah, Robert, Steve Moore, Public Works Director. When we looked at it, we did require that they'd have the ordinance required left turn lanes, and they couldn't meet that. So then they are allowed to do the right in, right out with its separation that they have. The island that they're showing would not be required, but what will be required is a median barrier down the middle of the road. And so that's how on 900. So that would give them the definite right in, right out rather than people making the sharp left turns to get in there. So that would be one of the conditions, that they have the actual center median.
Robert, the other answer is they don't own the property. They're unable to line it up with the other section because they don't actually own the property.
Enforcement was one where I was trying to get to, and then the second was, has Dries had any attempt to speak to these landowners to match up these driveways? To purchase the property, get in under contract to make this actually meet a full intersection subdivision?
So in order for the entrance to line up with Eden Gate across the street, there's 2 or 3 homes that are currently occupied. So no, I don't believe we have reached out about purchasing. We have reached out to the property to the south whose driveway access would be on this project. But no, we have not reached out about acquiring homes.
So I'm having a hard time thinking about 49 households. It's a right in, right out. So anyone that's coming home on the Rockville Road corridor or shopping or dining or banking or anything on the Rockville Road corridor, not being able to turn into their neighborhood they would have to go up to 100 North and come over and then come down for your right in, right out?
It's a unique situation, and the frontage along 900 makes it tough. So we are trying to problem solve here. With the roundabout at 100 and 900, it does make for an easier turnaround than without a roundabout. But we certainly understand your concern.
Right, but I mean, if I run to Target, I don't want to go a mile out of my way and over to get back to my house.
Mhm.
I mean, I just think it's going to be a hard sell.
So architecturally, there's no way to get a left turn lane in there. Is that area that's open to the west, is that too short of an area for decel lanes? To move it to the west a little bit or not?
I don't believe with the A-cell, D-cell taper lengths, and we do have our engineer here, so she can maybe speak to this in a little more detail. But it would require us acquiring land from homes to the north and the south. So we're trying to minimize impact to as many surrounding. We're trying to minimize impact to surrounding homes as much as possible.
I guess my concern would be this council as a whole has always had concerns about one ingress egress when you're talking about stacking up people, when there could be an emergency situation and that area being blocked. So that continues to be a problem for me personally. Any other comments or questions for the presenter? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next is Resolution 2025-01, protecting Prestwick Golf Course. Ryan, are you speaking to this or?
You can, or I can, however you want to do it. Would you like me to lead it off?
Sure.
As you guys are aware, we are currently in the process of annexing. It's the Carnoustie annexation, but part of the Carnoustie annexation is the Prestwick Golf Course. And I know the town council has gotten quite a few calls, and I've got a lot of calls from some of the surrounding property owners. And what is the intent for the golf course as part of that annexation? But first of all, I remind everybody that we don't decide how land actually develops. Developers bring it to us and we decide if we would zone it or not. So that's not really our choice. And so the town council only has kind of a limited position that they can take in this. And so kind of based on some of those questions that we've received, we put together this resolution that talks about the fact that we're annexing it. Some of the concern revolving around the Prestwick Golf Course, it's actually zoned planned unit development. And our understanding is as part of that planned unit development, the golf course is actually open space. So while we don't believe it could actually be developed for anything other than a golf course or open space, I know people have had concerns about that. And so this is just an opportunity for the town council to put it out there that the intent is not for it to be rezoned to something else, and that the town council's vision and intent is for the golf course to remain a golf course, or at least to remain open space and be consistent with the planned unit development.
I have a question. Even though that may be our intent, future councils can negate that resolution, right?
That would be correct, yes.
So this is not a permanent thing.
That is correct.
You want me to say, under the zoning statute, the town council, the town can always initiate a rezone. In my time, it never has. It's rare, but that's always an option available to the town under the law. But this is saying what your position is presently. But it would be the idea that the town would take the lead on a rezone, I would say here in Avon would be very unusual. And this resolution just kind of states that.
Dan, your answer makes me think that that's the only way that that would be applicable. If a developer purchased Prestwick Golf Course and wanted to rezone it to something else and brought a rezone petition to us, this holds no teeth to hold us from rezoning
Absolutely.
that.
That's not what this is about. This was during the annexation process. Some residents of Prestwick were concerned that the town might have plans they weren't disclosing. And this resolution states what your intentions are. It doesn't say anything about what other people might do. It just says what your state of mind is right now to eliminate that notion.
Any other discussion? Questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-01, a resolution to protect Prestwick Golf Course as proposed.
Second.
Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Bill Holland,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon.
4. Next is Resolution 2025-02, approving the bonds, lease, and the trust indenture for the Civic Center. Brian?
Yeah, this resolution is one of many steps that will occur in the process of construction of the Civic Center. And so, as you know, the Redevelopment Authority anticipates issuing lease bonds for the financing of the $15 million center. And as part of that, the RDA must receive approvals from the Redevelopment Commission and from you, the town council. So this is your first step in this process. And as part of this preliminary process, this resolution would have you approve the authorities issuing those bonds. It would establish the parameters of those bonds at not to exceed 15 million with a term ending not later than February of 2040 and a maximum annual interest rate of no more than 7%. So the first part of the resolution, Section 1, that establishes bond parameters. Section 2 establishes the terms under which the bonds would be redeemable, which is an important investment feature. Section 3 approves the execution of the lease, which would be between the RDA and the town, as it affects the terms of the lease, and would approve, again, repayment parameters or lease parameters with a maximum rate of $1.3 million to be paid semi-annually beginning in 25. Section 4 provides your approval for the execution of the trust indenture by the Redevelopment Authority and approves the pledge of the funds committed to repayment. Finally, there would be transfers here because the property will be owned by you. It will be transferred to the authority, then leased from the authority by you, and then at the end of the lease term, transferred from the authority back to you. And so Section 5 addresses those matters. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions, or is there any discussion? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2025-02, approving bonds, leased, and trust indenture for the Civic Center as presented. Civic Center as presented.
Second.
Julie, we have a first and a second. Would you take roll call, please?
Bill Holland,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Greg Zuzen.
4.
Dan, next is legal counsel report. No, next is an ordinance, an introduction to ordinance 2025-01, amending the 2025 salary ordinance.
Yeah, so I made a mistake when doing the budget. And so when I went to do the salary ordinance, that mistake got transferred over. It was simply an error in the formula that I had in my spreadsheet. I had done the 3% increase on the pay side of the spreadsheet, not on the hourly rate of the spreadsheet. And so then when it comes to us being able to pay this employee, We were not able to give them their actual corrected pay rate because the salary ordinance was incorrect. And so this is just alleviating that error. The amount in the budget as presented to the council is sufficient to cover that salary. It was just an error in my cell on the spreadsheet. So that's my one boo-boo on the whole budget.
Does that go against 2025 or 2024?
2025.
Oh,
Yeah.
You got a long haul.
If you'll let me put it in 24, I'll do that. Yeah. It's awfully early for a boo-boo, but I did it.
Any discussion or questions for Ryan? If not, we'll entertain a motion. Or
So
not a
it's an
motion, it's an
introduction.
introduction.
This is a
We'll
first
show it
reading.
introduced.
It would, if you guys wouldn't mind, you don't have to, it's at your discretion, but if you were willing to waive the rules to actually pass it, that would be helpful to us so that the employee could be paid. The ordinance is retroactive back to January 1st, so the sooner we get it done, the less impact it is for the payroll, and Julie and Kathy would appreciate that and be less mad at me.
I make a motion to suspend the rules and add the introduction ordinance 2025-01 to the agenda
Second.
for final reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Robert Pope,
4.
Bill Holland,
4.
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Don Loudon,
4.
Jason Puckett.
4.
Okay, so we will now move forward with the final reading of ordinance 2025-01, amending the 2025 salary ordinance that was just presented. Are there any other questions or comments? If not, we will at this time take a motion.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 2025-01, amending the 2025 salary ordinance as presented.
Second.
Julie, we have the first and the second. Would you take roll call, please?
Robert Pope,
4.
Greg Zuzen,
4.
Bill Holland,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Don Loudon.
4.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I apologize.
Dan, now we're ready for your legal counsel report.
Special for tonight, but thank you.
Thank you. All right, this is the second public comment section. And again, if you would like to come forward and state your name and your address and address the council, please step forward.
Bob Culler, 1483 Laurel Oak Drive in Avon, Indiana. I withheld my comments from an earlier public comment regarding the Briarwood subdivision zoning request. Being on the steering committee for the UDO, I felt it'd be good if we had a little bit of information on the intent of our zoning classifications for the residential districts. R5, which is a multifamily residential district, that was designed for, if you will, inner city thought processes. So that's the most dense classification we have. That was the intent for being inside like an urban area for sure, and an inner city type scenario. R4 is what they were proposing. Again, that is designed for multifamily residential district, not necessarily single. It specifically says multifamily here. And that intent was to be the next step outside of the inner city, if you will, to have that type of a development in that area. R3s, R2s, and R1s, yes, them are what we normally look at for here. R4 that they have to the south of the subdivision, to the south of them, the Prairie Trails, yeah, that fit what we were envisioning for in the UDO and our steering committee. But I do not agree with the thought process of having the proposed Briarwood as a R4 zoning district. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to come forward? Again, please state your name and your address.
Ron Fraser, 8806 Prairie Trail, Avon. Just in regards to that Briarwood, being in Prairie Trail subdivision, the land directly south of us, which has come up a number of times in front of council. It came up once as units and is knocked out at that time. Then they came back with an option of housing, and that was approved. And then that disappeared because they got the zoning they wanted, and then they hit us with units again. And my great concern is that R4 land, if it's converted to R4 and you've got R2 all around it, once it's R4, what stops them doing whatever they want with that land? Once you've given them that authority, it's done. And 900 sucks. I'm sorry, but it just sucks. With the traffic that we've now got on 900, it's difficult for us to get in and out. And I sure wouldn't want to live in a place where I've got to go out right and only go in right. And this age-appropriate housing, it sounds like BS to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? With no one else coming forward, we'll close that portion of the public comment and move on to council comment. Anyone? Okay, council calendar.
Your next meeting is January 23rd. I would like you guys to, I'll work with Dawn and Jason on a schedule, but I would like you guys to think about a strategic session. Normally we try to do that in February to kind of talk about the council's goals and objectives for the year. So start looking at your calendars for sometime in February, and I'll work with Dawn and Jason and get back with you guys on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Adjourned.